Here we go. We are live. We are
What is up, everybody in the Black Comic Lords family? How are y'all doing? Brother Rich, how are you, sir?
I am very, very good. And yourself, sir?
I feel terrible. I have a cold, or I feel like I'm coming down with something, but I don't care because I am hyped tonight.
That's what's up.
Because we get to interview someone we talk about in the space all the time. One of our special BCL family, Miss Stephanie Williams. Now, for those of you who don't know, Miss Stephanie Williams is a comics writer known for her insightful commentary and engaging storytelling. She's contributed to Marvel's X-Men, DC Comics, Ignition Press, Madcave Studios, IDW, and more, bringing fresh perspectives and authentic voices to beloved characters. So, without further ado, let's bring on Eisner Award nominee, Miss Stephanie Williams.
Hello.
So I know you had sound effects, Stephanie.
How are you, Stephanie?
I'm good. I hate that you're sick. That doesn't make me happy at all. Hope you feel better very soon.
You are the highlight of my day. How about that?
Okay, that will work.
All right. So, we were joking behind stage about, we talk about you all the time, every week, about Stephanie Williams is out here. She's killing it. I mean, are we not looking at this? Are you not reading Roots of Madness? Are you not checking out Temporal? You check out Street Sharks. She's doing work. She's putting in work. She's even throwing in, just for fun, some Wonder Woman stints. Like, we know this. But then to have it recognized outside of us to them is incredible. And deservedly so. Deservedly so.
Well, thank you. I'm still processing, not because I didn't think that I was worthy of Eisner nom. It's just quite simply, I just didn't think they were checking for me.
That's exactly the sentiment. It's like we already knew that you were worthy. It's just we didn't expect them to actually do it. Like, to like actually pull the trigger on it and like, hey, to actually recognize, put the light there. Yes, absolutely. So we're happy to have you. We're happy to have you.
And I'm happy to be here. When I found out the news.
I was saying, also shout out to all the other nominees. We saw.
Yes, absolutely.
You said Vida Ayala, Borea Ayudeli, the whole crew from that worked on Noir's The New Black.
Yes.
Junie Ba. Shout out to all the nominees.
Yes,
you are all very, very deserving.
Paul is being politically correct right now. I'm not going to let him do that while I'm on here. Sister, you need to go on and beat your, if you won't do it, go on and beat your chest. Your work has spoke for itself. So, and shout out to all of everybody that got nominated, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I want you to have the award. I want you to get the award. Sorry, everybody. I'm just looking at what the work has been and the work, and Stephanie has done some amazing work. He's given us some something from the past and something from the future, and you can't front on that. You know what I'm saying? So I know Paul's gonna get into all the shenanigans about all of this later on, but I just need y'all please put some respect on Stephanie's name. Please do that, because yes, Eisner is great, and I'm glad she got nominated. I think it's deservingly so. And I will say, Miss Stephanie, that to get that nod, it might be, like you say, you process, and that's a great thing, and I'm glad that you are honored by that. But I want you to personally know that all of the accolades from the outside they're special.
Yeah.
What is it really if your own folks don't think it's special? So
exactly.
I think that, we just happen to be some folk kind of like on ground zero, if you will, because I do see, your power ascending and that kind of thing. And so I'm just happy for you. I'm happy for the comic book community, to be honest, because there have been sisters that come before you that got where you are.
Yes.
And so I salute you, my dear sister, because I know it ain't easy. So thank you.
No. Yeah, no, thank you. And I think part of the reason why I'm still processing, Rich, is exactly because of what you just said. Because there have been so many other phenomenal writers and artists who have come before me who just so happen to not get the recognition, but it doesn't at all take away from their impact, how talented and skilled they were, or any of that. I think when I first found out that I had been nominated for Best Writer, like I already knew my history, and I knew that another Black writer had not been nominated in that category since Mr. Dwayne McDuffie in '95, and that is insane. That is 31 years, and in that span of time, there have been so many names deserving of being in that list. Yes, they have gotten nominations for, Best New Series, one shots. I know Mr. Kyle Baker is a chief among them and the most decorated Black artist to win our Eisners for Best Humor, for writer, artist, for Plastic Man, and all the other work that he did. So, like, it's just, it is both beautiful, it's bittersweet. I'll put it that way. But my hope is that because things are finally changing the way that I hope is in, a positive direction, and we can keep the momentum going, that I am not the second person to get nominated in another, the next person that comes after me, hopefully it's not another 31 years, because that's crazy.
Absolutely. Shout out to everyone in the chat. If you would, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe channel. Hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching this on replay, not watching it live, there's a new button called the hype button. Hype the video by hitting the hype button as well as the like button, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all very much.
And please, if you're feeling generous, send us a super chat. We're working with this thing with duct tape and prayers. We need some money. So please support the channel. Tell a friend, tell a hater. We don't care. Just, let somebody know that the Black Comic Lords is talking to Stephanie Williams tonight.
Yeah. Please. Because you already know they're going to have me on this circuit leading up to the Oscars. I'm a working girl. So I'm getting ready, because since Thursday, as you can imagine, a lot of hey big head emails from folks who I either didn't know I existed or I thought I was dead. So, I'm sure it's going to be more of that as we get closer to July.
I tell you what makes it extra special, Stephanie, is, the Best Writer Award is not just a specific. You've got the nominee for Best New Book for Temporal, but the general Best Writer Award, it's like just recognizing the skills, And
it's like Ryan Coogler getting director, like Best Director, right? Like that's very similar in that way.
Absolutely, and such an apropos time, because think about the work that you've got just this past year. The Street Sharks, Roots of Madness, Temporal, even the work that you did on Wonder Woman. These are all different books, all different genres, all different styles of writing. That's the important thing. Like the writing style that you have on Temporal is completely different than the writing style you have on Roots of Madness. Yeah. People need to recognize that, and apparently you have. They're recognizing that. The depths and skills that you are demonstrating. I am so happy for you. I am genuinely happy for you.
Thank you, Paul.
It's
It's just that for this to happen too, with both of my creator owned projects attached to it as well.
Right.
I think I've told you guys this before, but I am somebody who embraces that chip on her shoulder. And because coming in, a lot of work I had was with, the bigger two, Marvel, DC. A lot of it, I felt like, I would see things and hear things and folks wondering if I could do more than just play in other people's sandboxes. And I'm like, that was always the case. Like that was something I was always capable of. It was just timing. And for me, it was very important to, get my reps in and take the work that I could take. And that, has steadily grown, and I have a lot more agency when it comes to that now, and can be a lot more picky in ways that I never thought would be possible for a Black woman in this space. So to have my original works, recognized, and for people to see that, oh, like she's very serious when it comes to writing comics. I'm like, well, yes, I need you all to understand this. It's not just me. There are other Black women, other Black creators who understand this medium in ways that this industry has often overlooked, quite simply because they haven't checked out the work.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Again, I'm really hoping that just with my nominations, especially with Temporal being nominated for Best New Series, that really took me by surprise, because I just was not expecting that. Like, it just didn't feel like a book that the Eisners would normally pay attention to. The type of Black art that often grabs their attention. That is not being disparaging to anything that has been nominated prior to that, but this is a story that on the surface is very fun. We're time traveling. The premise again on the surface doesn't seem that deep, but that story is a meditation in identity and parenthood, and what you're willing to sacrifice for the life that you had in the past, and how important it is to be present, and how that impacts the future. All of these things. And I don't know, like, just the fact that was nominated. Asia Fulmore is another Black woman who had to fight to get on this book. So DJ Chavez, another Black creator, our colorist. I assembled this team the best way that I could. So to have something that is so important to me, so special to me. Same thing with Roots, recognized in that way when I wasn't checking for that recognition. It's just, again, I don't know, maybe just another reaffirmation, and, continue to put your head down and do the work, and people will pay attention, because you can't give them any choice but to. Like, my whole thing of being in this space is to be undeniable, because that's the only way that I can succeed as a Black woman in this space, if we're just keeping it real.
Question for you, Stephanie. As far as
before you ask your question, I want to give a shout out to Wiseacre Comics. Thank you for the super chat.
Okay. No, I will not be at DreamCon. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
No DreamCon, but she will be at Heroes Con, so check her out there.
That's a talk, man. Let me ask you about Temporal as the writing for it, because it is a fun book, and I can't imagine. I'm not going to pretend like I can jump in your head and think what you think, but was it hard to really write this book? Because it looked like it flowed out of you easy.
No, it wasn't hard at all. I hardly ever really struggle to get us to write a story. If I do, it's just because there are just so many things my fingers can't keep up with my mind that way. Yeah. It wasn't until I actually started working on that book, and because it was my creator own, like, I think that is when my writing and just my understanding of comics really just clicked into place, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like a point guard, who is just, gone from college to the NBA to WNBA, and the game is finally slowed down for them, because they can see where the passes are supposed to go, where to set the players up, and all of these things. That's just kind of how it felt. And it definitely felt like that with Temporal. It was just, I don't like the story, the same thing with Roots. Very similar. The story just kind of settled on me. And the next thing I knew, like, it just flowed. And I don't know, like for me as a storyteller, part of the reason why I enjoy writing different genres and my stories always have a different feel, because I don't try to dictate the story, so to speak, but let it evolve and let it take its course as I am working and writing. Because something I've learned with comics is that it is ever evolving in a short span of time, especially when you're writing and you're creating, because it changes. How you view your story changes from when you're outlining to scripting to seeing the art with color, and then seeing it all put together. Like, I am thinking about the story in so many different stages. And so when it flows out like that, it just becomes a beautiful thing, because it's almost like it was preordained to turn out this way. I just got out of my own way, to get out of my way and also my collaborators' way, so they can bring their best work forward too.
So let's talk about Temporal.
Yeah.
It's just a shout out to like 90s sci-fi films or 80s sci-fi films in all respects.
Yes.
I love the homage cover by Asia Fulmore to the right here, the Back to the Future, which is like one of my favorite.
No, that's actually sorry, Paul, that's actually Kari Randolph.
Oh, Kari Randolph.
Yeah.
It's like a shout out to the Back to the Future. It's one of my favorite sci-fi films of all time. I know that your background, you're a scientist, are you not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of the best writers I have ever seen are you, Dwayne McDuffie, Kevin Grievous, all scientists. Coincidence? I think not.
That's right.
I think not.
I don't know. Maybe it's the madness in the way that our minds are working, the way that we are asking questions when it comes to, story, character, all of these things, the research that goes into it. But it's just so funny, because Temporal was something that originally I would have never told. I told myself that I wouldn't do any stories that involve time travel, because time travel often gets messy. And then time travel gets even messier when you have Black characters, because, the first instinct everyone has is, how are they going back and solving slavery? And my whole thing is, yes, but also, like, nobody was asking Marty McFly that. Right? Like, whenever white people get to travel and go back in time, nobody's asking them, are they fixing all of these things? They just go on their little adventures.
Right.
And it's fiction, right? So, sometimes as creators, like, I feel like all of our stories don't have to be beholden to, what the world is. It just, that just stumps creativity in that way. And because I was thinking of that and just didn't want to deal with it, I wasn't going to do Temporal, but then I had to get out of my own way. And it was just like, you know what? This is a story that I want to tell. It has nothing to do with any of this other stuff. Not that it's not important. There's a time and place for it. Then the time and place is not in this story.
Yeah, there are so many layers to this. And we're going to talk about it. But even starting with just the cover we have on the left, by shout out to Torrin Clark, fantastic cover. You've got a family on there.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it's just so rare for us to see Black families on the covers of a comic book.
Yeah.
Let alone
which
in
is
a
wild.
story. Yeah, but it's yeah, exactly right. It's wild that is so rare. Now I'm looking at this automatic, violation of the McDuffie rule. With a Black family, and I'm like, that's absolutely spectacular. And I don't know. Yeah, you one of the things you mentioned is a very personal story. You mentioned how it deals with family, and I know that you have a family yourself. You have a son and what have you. Was that a driving factor in fashioning a story like this?
Flag on the play. Don't say son. Husband.
That's innocent, but no, it actually wasn't. If anything, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe subconsciously afterwards, but no, this story really, the seed that started it was a conversation with a friend, and he was making fun of the fact that like I had just got back from, I think maybe Rose City Comic Con or something before that. But at these conventions, because my son is a huge gamer, he likes to play, like he's a retro gamer and he wants to be like a purist and play it on that system. And, you know, being the mom that I am, if I'm at a convention, like I have access to these things. So let me try to find them. And I think I was looking for a Sega Game Gear that had been on my hunt that entire summer. I finally found it. And my friend was like, you know, you do turn into Laura Croft when you're at these comic conventions. A little funny aside kind of joke. And then that just took, I don't know, something about that just took hold and planted itself. And one of my favorite things, all the stories that I tell, is to take something mundane and make it fantastical. And this was taking that and making it fantastical. And it starts with a mom actually literally being able to go back in time in this world where, you know, time travel is kind of like the currency, and getting old relics, which are pop culture items, is part of the driving force. So it just all just kind of came together. And next thing I knew, Temporal was happening. From you know, my experiences and looking for this retro game and my love of 90s and 80s sci-fi action, those movies that, you know, I watched ad nauseum and always enjoyed, but I'm pretty sure would have maybe enjoyed even more if there were characters that looked like me that weren't side characters in it. So Temporal is really also a meditation in that, and literally wanting to create the stories that I enjoy watching, but for those characters to look like myself and others that I know.
Yeah, it's absolute facts. And I think that's what I found so fun about it. Where was the story 30 years ago? You know, when we were kind of living in that time period, I would have thoroughly enjoyed it. Here's your team. You mentioned the team that was assembled to work on this. You want to talk about your team and talk about what it was like working with Madcave on this project.
Yeah, so Madcave was one of the first publishers to reach out to me to ask me if I had any originals. In fact, James Emmett, our editor, was the person who reached out to me directly. So the very first thing I pitched to Madcave was kind of like this superhero high fantasy thing that didn't actually, the superheroes weren't the main characters. It was this couple. It was going to be a whole different thing. But Madcave is like, they just really don't do superhero stuff. So that just fell through, and I pocketed that pitch to just take somewhere else. But in the meantime, you know, working, and then finally 2023 happens, and Temporal comes to me, and I hit James up, and I'm like, hey, I think I have something that is very Madcave like, and that you guys are going to dig. And then I sent him that pitch, and it was an immediate yes. There was no back and forth for any of that, immediate yes. And from there, it was assembling the team. So I already knew that I wanted Asia Fulmore as my artist because I just enjoy her art. I got familiar with her through her work with Amethyst, and Sanford Green actually introduced us at Heroes Con in, I think, 2022, 2023. Asia's from Columbia, South Carolina, not that far from Charlotte. So it was just a match made in heaven, essentially. And DJ, I always see him at Heroes Con. Always loved his energy, always loved his work. I thought he was a phenomenal colorist. And he had actually colored something that, like a one-page one-off I had did a while back when I was still making fan comics. So he was in my back pocket for that. Becca Carey, worked with her on Nubia and the Amazons, Nubia Queen of the Amazons. And of course, our logo designer, Tim Daniel, did phenomenal work with the way that he made Temporal. But everybody brought their A game for this. And for Asia specifically, that is somebody who I had to fight for to get on this book because they felt that her art style was too manga-like. And to me, I thought that was great because manga is what the kids are reading. So if I would like to get more eyes on this book, then it would be wise of me to play into that, right? But also, more importantly, her art style is how I saw this story. Whenever I'm thinking, because I don't really, you know, working at the big two, you don't often get a chance to pick the artist that you work with. creator owned. You have a lot more choice and everything. So I was able to really write a story that took full advantage of her art style, because it's important, to go with the words. The art is like the beat. If we're thinking about music, it is that the lyrics and the beat don't match, then you really don't have anything cohesive. So with Asia's art, like, it just felt like the perfect match for this story.
I love the fact that you referenced creator owned. I mean, I'm looking at the lower part of this page, copyright 2025, Stephanie Williams, all rights reserved. Nothing can be done without the express written permission of Stephanie Williams. It's doubly satisfactory that you're being recognized for works that you own the IP for.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get to Roots of Madness, which how that does not get optioned into a film or short series is just, it would be staggering to me.
Yeah, look at the guy's ears. I would love that.
We got another super chat, Paul.
We did?
Yeah, New Horizon Comics.
Hey, shout out to Harold Pete,
Hey,
New Horizon Comics.
Then it's kind of
more stuff
that Lockhart said didn't know about this book. Well, go get a late pass. And since you didn't know about it, now you know about it. You can go get the trade. Is the trade out now? It should be out, right?
The trade is out. It sure is.
Yeah. So, and this is one of these books that I will say is going to do very good to read as a trade. Some books you get an issue, be like, it's okay. You might go to the store, get issue 3 or whatever, nothing is going on. But you can literally get the whole ball of wax. So go get that.
Do you know if there are going to be hardcover editions done of either Roots of Madness or Temporal?
Oh, for sure now. Yeah. If
Good.
they weren't before, they are now.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. So let's jump into Temporal. Sci-fi story. Chicago, Illinois Metropolitan Museum of Science and History, 1986. 1986 was a great year for sci-fi movies and television.
Yes.
So it was very apropos. We run across this couple. Tell us about this couple. Who are these people?
So that's our lead, Savannah and Marcus. Savannah is literally named Savannah because I just got done watching Waiting to Exhale, and one of my favorite lines is "That's a good man, Savannah." So that is why that ended up happening. But in these first opening pages, I wanted to kind of give a peek inside of their relationship because they're coworkers, they're flirting, and you kind of see the beginnings of how they ended up getting together. So, what life was before they settled down.
Now, you said they're co-workers. Who are they working for? Because they look like spies.
Yes. So they're working for this organization called Lucan, which there are many organizations like this in this world where, I guess you could think of them as different factions, camps, gangs, whatever, where they hire folks to go grab stuff in time travel, right? Like, this is competing industries. And their mission right here is to get not what folks would assume since they're at a museum, but they end up taking a DeLorean.
All right. So it's kind of like corporate espionage, but with a time travel twist.
Yes.
And they're private contractors.
Yes.
And they make their way out with a DeLorean.
Yeah. One of the premier pop culture, items. When you think of time travel, you cannot think of a DeLorean. So to me, I was like, opening up, and very on the nose, but I think it would be kind of fun and clever to have them actually steal a DeLorean to bring it back.
You just knew that I was a Back to the Future fan and just threw that in there for me, didn't you?
Yes, I knew.
Just say it. Just say it. Thank you. All right. So we move ahead because obviously they're from the future, right? So we were kind of moving to the future even further because they're time travelers. 2072, Chicago, Illinois, Vintage Vibes, which is, for all intents and purposes, an antique store, but more so.
Yes.
The main character, Savannah, owns the store where now in the future she is retired from being a corporate time thief, so to speak.
Yes.
She is married and settled down, and now has a son who you just mentioned. Your son is into retro gaming, is also into retro gaming. Brilliant young man.
Yes.
All right. So, but she's feeling a sense of ennui, as it were, right? Like she's like, you know what? She's going through this, like, it's almost like a midlife crisis. Like, I was the ish back in the day. I could hop through time, get the cool stuff, bring it back to the company. They give me accolades for it. I kind of wish, I need to know if I still got it. Do I still have the edge? Do I still have that stuff? In the same regard, I'm a little bored, and she's also wondering, as a mother, this is a very important scene because it's her and her mother. And she's having this, am I doing enough as a mother? Am I doing enough as a person? What was the impetus behind this scene between her and her mother?
I obviously pulling from personal experience, not even just for myself, but other women, friends of mine who, are moms too. And I don't know, one of the things, like transitioning from, not being a mom to being one in those very early stages and even beyond, I don't know, like motherhood is beautiful. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but because it is so vast and it's so all consuming, sometimes you can lose a little bit of yourself in that, for good and for bad. And for Savannah, like her son's 10th birthday kind of sets off this 10-year itch. And a lot of times in these stories that are kind of like this, like we see the male protagonist get a chance to like think about his past life and stuff, and women are we don't really see that a lot. So and because it would be frowned upon, right? Like how dare a mom consider like what life was like prior to becoming one, a career woman, consider like what life was like, before her career or after. So all of these things. And of course, her mom is like, oh, well, maybe you're feeling this way because you would like to have another child. And Savannah is already struggling with whether or not she feels she is doing enough currently with the one child that she has in the life that she has. So just all of these things that are bubbling up for her. But really at the surface, it's her not being completely honest with herself in the fact that all of these things, but it boils down to her and her wanting to see if she still has it. But right now she gets to use feeling certainty about her mothering skills and things like that as an excuse to really interrogate that instead of just meeting it head on.
Shout out to Asia Fulmore. Her ability to render expressions on faces is just
so
incredible.
And this is why I wanted Asia on this book because, because this is not a superhero comic, it's still action filled. Even if it was a superhero comic, I would still want her on it. But, I'm somebody who really thrives on the quieter moments. It's very important for me for you to be able to relate to the character in some way so you can actually give a damn about the story. But that doesn't come through if you don't see it in the art. If the art is not matching the energy of the words and what you're reading. So again, shout out to Asia for like really bringing this home.
Yeah, she absolutely did.
Shout out to the colors.
Yes, DJ.
There ain't no joke.
No, he's not.
He made the melanin pop. So yeah.
Yes. And that was the beautiful thing about working with DJ and Asia is that I didn't really have to say anything about that. To that. Like I just knew that they were gonna do it. Like Asia drawing, Marcus with his do-rag, Savannah with her bonnet. Like those are things that I didn't have to put in the script because I just knew that she would know.
So you didn't give them notes on this. They just did that. They just ran with it.
No, they just did it. Yeah.
That's what's up. I mean, this is a fully for the culture type moment. I mean, she got her bonnet, he got his do-rag. they just having this moment, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
But hey, here's the thing, Paul. Shout out to Steph. They at home.
Yes. They're at home. I want Richie being messy, but they're at home. They're at home, and I wanted to show kind of this intimate moment. I'm gonna let that.
Oh my God!
Just a second. Just a second.
Oh God!
No, I was joking.
I love having Rich here. It's just you never know what's going to happen next, man. This is fantastic. All right, so you mentioned she's a mom. She's having a birthday party for her son. He's into retro gaming. She buys him a knockoff retro gaming device where he's like, "Oh, that's nice, Mom. Thank you." I guess
because kids, I mean, there have been plenty of times. Like, my son is amazing, but like there's been times my husband and I have gotten him something and we knew that he wasn't really feeling it, but he was still trying to be, polite and thankful about it. But like you know. And it's drawing from my own experiences as a child. I remember like my dad picking something up at the barbershop that he probably bought out of somebody's trunk that wasn't, the on brand version, but that's what he came home with.
But this is again, shout out to Asia, who's able to render the emotions and expressions so well. I mean, his expression when he's looking at it is like, "Oh, this is nice, thank you," and then her little "you're welcome," and she's doing the side eye thing. It's well done.
Yes, because she knew that, and that's what prompts their conversations. Like, she knew she wanted to get the real deal, the real McCoy, and her husband was like, "No, he'll be fine with the regular," because moms know.
Right. So now she feels some kind of way because she's already having this feeling of ennui about her past and worrying about, do I still got it? And then her son, she's not providing her son the gift that he would seem to like. She comes up with the idea. Maybe even though I'm retired from the life, I'd take just one more mission, one more op to go into the past and try to hook my son up with the original gaming station thing that he wants.
Think about it. I mean, but I gotta do this. I gotta do this to support my son, right?
Right. It's important to the son.
And her friend is calling her out on her BS because she knows, because I have it where, the friend is still working. Jamie is still working as a time thief. So she easily could have gone and gotten this herself, right? Like Savannah could have asked her bestie to do that, but she did not because she is the one who wants to go do it.
Yeah, trying to use it as an excuse to get back into the game.
I love
it. She goes to the big boss.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Wink, wink. Oh, so I thought you were retired. Yeah, it's just one more mission. Oh, is it just one more mission? Is this lady based on anyone in particular? Because she's
just CCH Pounder.
Oh, that's perfect. So do you like cast your characters in your head with
sometimes people? Yeah, sometimes I do. Yeah.
CCH Pounder would be 100% perfect for this role. That's what's up. So she goes into the past to go acquire the game.
Yes, the Minimax.
Now you do this flashback, which at the first time when I read through this, I thought it was just kind of an odd change of pace because the last thing I saw, she was going back in time. Why are we having this flashback to 2034 and we're listening to this scientist talk about we can affect weather changes by moving the moon and doing things like that. I'm like, this is random. This is out of the blue. And she just happens to be Dr. Fulmore. Shout out to Asia. And then we find out in present day, 2072, her husband's a school teacher. He's just teaching about this whole event. And he's talking about, Dr. Fulmore, a revolutionary plan to solve climate change by manipulating the moon's gravitational forces. Well, what happened when it happens? Well, great question. It fractured the moon. Luckily, they were able to, come up with some type of fix for fracturing the moon. Like very matter of factly, they just fractured the moon. Like that's not a big thing.
I like the wording of that fractured. Not really.
Fractured. And there's very specific reason why, because it's just so, everybody's so blasé now about it, because it happened a while ago and they fixed it. So, you just look up, you see the fractured moon.
What's amazing about this scene, as I said, this seems like a just out of the way, just throw in line. I'm like, why are we here? Why are we talking about this? But it becomes so relevant in the last 2 issues. It's like, you remember that scene we talked about, fracturing the moon? That's really what this whole book will. We'll get there. As an aside, I love this line. Time thieves certainly have a knack for adventure, but remember, it's always important to consider the consequences of our actions, no matter how tempting they may seem or how much they may pay. Where's my producer with the message thing? That's
message.
As a complete aside, substitute the word time thieves with social media content creators, and you have a whole message. Think about it. It'll get there. All right. So she's back in time, which is where we left off before, which is where I thought the story was going to be.
No. The beginning of each issue, and I'm pretty sure like by now you realize, but they all start with a flashback.
Yeah. So she's back in time. She's trying to get the Minimax device. She secures the Minimax device. Everything goes flawless. She comes back. Wow, that was great. I got what I needed for my kid. I got it out my system. I'm done.
You just bumped right past that. That wasn't off with a hit. She was.
Oh, she almost got arrested.
She almost got arrested.
Details. You gotta let them save some for those who haven't read.
Yes.
All right. That's funny.
All right. The important thing is she secured the bag. She brought it back. Everything's hunky dory. She's never going to do it again because she's got it out her system. She's back in her store. Guy comes in and says, "Hey, see that you're back. That's great. I have a message for you. Go ahead and take a look at this message." Holographic message, because we're in the future. And it has this symbol. What is this symbol, Stephanie?
Oh my God. Wow. How am I blanking? I think it was like a Greek symbol for time. Playing with the I don't know. I don't remember. I just knew that it was like
the short version. It's the symbol of Loken, the company she works for.
Yes, it is their symbol. But the deeper it was, I think it was like Greek or something like that. I do not remember. Mind you, I wrote this 2 years ago.
Well, it's look. The important thing is
it's for the company that the group that her husband and her used to work for.
Right. She's been summoned.
Yes.
To Loken. Now, this is another. You said every story begins with a flashback. Here's a flashback of how she got recruited into Loken to be one of their super operatives. Right. So she's summoned back to where she started, and they said, "Hey, well, we saw that you went on a little mission, and now, welcome back to the fold. It was only a one-time thing. Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the fold.
The left well enough alone.
You should have left well enough alone. You're going to be working for us. Don't worry about it. We'll keep your family safe." Wait, that sounds like a threat. Well, tomato, right?
You're only speaking absolutes.
So she's doing this mission. She's doing her super spy thing. I'm literally listening to Mission Impossible music as I'm watching the scene. Shout out to Asia Fulmore.
Yes.
And then she realizes the temporal disturbance did taking this relic cause. Why am I causing a planet-shifting catastrophe with these actions? What does me stealing this one device have to do with destroying the entire world? Now, I'm going to stop talking about the book from this part because what happens in the subsequent issues? Remember, I told you about the throwaway scene, fracturing the moon. Everything that you just heard me talk about is completely inconsequential to what happens next. Well, not completely inconsequential. It is pale in comparison, I should say, to what happens next, which is what the story is truly about. So the first 2.5, 3 issues is really set up for the last 2 issues, which go full on adrenaline, sci-fi action. Oh my God, what the hell is happening next?
I have a question, Stephanie.
I imagine you would.
Well, I don't like saying we don't want to give it away, but my question is the way the story is paced. I definitely enjoy the pacing of the story itself. It felt like it was a full story. My question is, were you able to tell your whole story with these 5 books, or did you have more?
Good question.
I do have more, but after. But I was able to tell the full complete story that I wanted to hear.
Okay.
Just so yes. And then and there's reasons for seeding the world that way because or if I were to do more, I wanted those things to exist to really bring it home. And especially like the kind of the way that it ends too, with certain folks getting certain positions and stuff like that. Like I wanted to leave it so that there was room to play with more in this world, but also at the same time give you a complete story.
Don't get more.
Yeah, yes.
See, now, Paul, you should put that's the point where you put the breaking news.
No, do not do breaking news.
You're going to get us in trouble. You're going to get us in trouble. All right. So listen, for all of you watching this, if you have not picked up Temporal, do yourself a favor. Pick up this book. You will not be disappointed. It picks up so much from this point. It goes so fast.
It's not rushed though. It goes fast, but it's not rushed. The pacing.
No, but it's a page turner at that point because it's like, oh my God, what's happening next? What's happening next? It's like Stephanie really demonstrates her skill. I love how you mentioned the pacing, Richard, because I think that's kind of the thing. Everything is paced well. So when it's a building, it's a crescendo. So when you get to this point where you see this image and you're like, wait, we started off as a story about 2 people on a date.
It was a job, not a book.
It's a job. We're talking about let's go on a date. And now we're at the world is going to come to an end. And you realize, wait, she tricked me.
I did.
She absolutely tricked me.
But she does what a good writer do. Give people what they want, just not how they want it.
Right. And I'm like, wait, let me go back and read that scene with the doctor with the fractured moon. Let me reread that panel again. How's it tie back into destroying the world?
Yeah.
You tricked your audience in a good way that I'm happy. So I was hence best new series nomination, y'all.
Awesome.
For a reason.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the other book that I wanted to talk about.
Now, before you start, Paul, I have to ask Stephanie a question about this. Because I was talking to my wife, and I was telling my wife we were going to be doing this interview tonight. And this was a couple of days ago. And so I asked her, I said, honey, is it roots or is it roots? Because depending on where you are, is it roots of madness or is it roots of madness? And I was sharing with her my association or my identification with this particular story and how it was laid out, because I don't have, sisters, but I have a lot of cousins. And so I know what it's like to wake up on a Saturday or Sunday morning and watching my cousins get their hair done, and my grandmother and my aunties going in and getting back in the kitchen and greasing the roots, or the roots, if you will. I just thought that was amazing. And so this story plays in a lot of different, I would say, elements of our culture. So thank you for just giving us a story with care in mind.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a very, very important part of our culture. So I just wanted to bring that up before we get into the actual story. So I'm saying it now, so you can have it now.
So here's the thing. For those who have not read this, again, do yourself a service and get this book. You will not be disappointed. I describe it because I always try to, movie analogies. The Color Purple meets Get Out meets They Live, or something like that. Some horror, some pulpy, like 1980s horror film that hits you sideways you did not expect. It's all in this, mixed
That's a compliment.
with a tinge of pulp science fiction. You think I'm joking if you haven't read this, but just roll with me on this. Trust me. It has all of that. It has all of that in 6 issues. Was it always going to be 6 issues? Or I feel like it almost got expanded by an extra issue.
No, it's funny. It was actually only supposed to be 5, but
right.
In my contract, I read 6 issues, but that's because Ignition Press was doing the cold opens, which they considered part of the issues, but mine didn't get a cold open. So I didn't even consider that. I just thought 6. And when I turned in the outline, my editor and stuff was like, yeah, this is great. So when I turned in issue 5, he was like, I really think this is strong. And I think there's a couple things that we need to address so this to fully feel like an ending. And I'm like, Jamie, this isn't the ending. I got one more issue left. And then that is when we all found out and it got settled. But either way, if I wanted more, they probably would have gave me more. But no, 6 was in my mind always what this was going to be. And again, laying groundwork so that I would be able to return to this world.
Whew, that answers one of my biggest questions. You got to tell me we're coming back. You got to tell me we're coming back.
There's actually an alternate ending. So there are 2 versions of issue 6 that ended up getting written, and I could not decide between the 2. And then finally, after rereading issues 1 through 5, ended up deciding on issue 6, the second version of it, which also had an alternate ending. So I think it might be a little too late to kind of put that in the trade paperback, but maybe for the hard edition, maybe that's a possibility.
So when you say it was done, it was already done. Like you drew it, it was written, everything.
No. So before it went to Letitia, I was trying to decide between the 2 versions that I had wrote, and then she finally, she got it. But no, nothing had been drawn before issue 6. Before she got the permit. Yeah, no.
All right. So when we're done here behind the scenes, I'd like to know what's going to happen in the alternate version, if you would.
I'll think about it.
All right. Shout out to Juliet Neca. These covers.
Yes.
Who decided on securing her for these covers?
Jamie did. So my editor at Ignition, Jamie Rich, because he remembered the 2 covers that she did on Nubia and the Amazons. She also did one for Nubia, Queen of the Amazons.
Right.
And I always thought that she was just phenomenal. So he brought that up before I could, and all I could say was yes. And the great thing about Juliet, like we just let her rock. There were no suggestions given to her. She would read the issue, and then this is what the covers that she would come up with. She was so locked in after issue 1 and 2. Issue 4, that cover caught me by surprise because I was not expecting that. But that just, again, when you're working with another Black creator, any facet of this, you get things that are pleasant surprises. And it's just good that you don't have to think of everything. Everybody brings, their thing to the table. And all of these covers are beautiful, but issue 4 specifically, it's just, I don't know, like I just feel like that transcends. Like I've never seen something like that in a comic shop.
Yeah.
See the period. I think this is one of them. And I don't know. Not
That's
that.
the one in the upper right hand corner.
Here it is right here. I got it right here. Right here.
Yeah, man. I absolutely love that cover.
It's my favorite cover.
That cover. The issue 5 and 6 covers are almost spoilers. Once you read the story, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely draw you in. I do the pre-orders for us, and I remember I don't think they solicited beyond 5 issues initially. That's why I asked you if it was really supposed to be 5.
Oh no, it's okay. Other folks had that same question, but no, it was always supposed to be 6.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, all the better for us. All right. Let's talk about. I mean, excuse the watermark from initial.
Yeah,
press.
sorry for the watermark. They said right. Watermark it down.
Talk about these characters that we have here. We have the setup. This is 1890, pre-Bronzeville, Chicago, Illinois. Talk about the setup here.
Yeah. So again, like, how do I make something that is mundane, everyday, fantastical? And I knew for this story, I literally wanted to root it in this family moment because it was going to be something that I needed to land so that it carried you the rest of the way, because it becomes very important as we continue. But this is just, a mother and daughter in the kitchen. This is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of us have experienced via, either a mom, grandmother, aunt, uncle, whoever, right? Whoever you were in the kitchen with. But this is just a moment between mother and daughter where they are talking about recipes on the surface, but really getting into a little bit of their family history. And one of the things that just kept coming to mind is I remember when I was younger, certain stuff like, family members wouldn't really go into because they would say that it was grown folks' business. And then I got older and I learned out the grown folks' business was really just messiness. So and of course this comes and plays out towards the end of the story, but really, this is part of it. Finding out that grown folks' business is just adults being hella messy.
I love how you phrased that. I love that you said taking the mundane and making it fantastical. I'm definitely going to quote you on that in the future. But I think that's code for good storytelling.
Thank you.
Because your first several pages of this book, as I was reading it, I was noting how I was getting drawn in. You took something that you're familiar with, you could feel, and you also represents the culture because we could feel it. Because this is something that, as you said, we've seen this, we've lived this. I've seen my mother in the kitchen with my sister, teaching her a recipe, or teaching me, hey, Paul, here's how you make your breakfast. So you can do it yourself. So you can stop asking me to make your breakfast, and talking about these recipes and stuff. It's just one of those just normal everyday things. But then it gets a little deeper as you get more into the dialogue of what they're talking about. And she's talking about, your great grandmother, You know, she had these. She was very skilled, and she knew these things, and that oral tradition is what you're doing, right? Where you're here's what our family history is. Here are the lessons learned. Here's the knowledge that we've gained, and I am now imparting that to you. But I'm doing it in a very routine, as you said, mundane setting. So you're not really thinking of it as I'm being schooled, I'm being educated, I am learning, you know, family lessons, historical knowledge, etc. It's just every day. Then yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment about that. I think that in the story itself, I like the way Stephanie lays out how this information was you know how it was communicated.
Right.
Literally in the corner pages of the Bible,
The margins of the Bible, yeah.
Margins of the Bible, and I think people need to know how important that was, because that was still, back in the day, to people had to learn how to read and write in secret. They had to learn how to do certain things in secret, and it also speaks to our ancestors' ability to kill themselves when they didn't have the conventional doctors and pharmacies. And I love the story that she's telling, because there were people in our communities or whatever. If you didn't have any money to go to the doctor, you had to go see such and such down the street that may have
the root woman.
She had something for you to help you, because this was life, for us in the 1800s, and in some places probably your mid 1900s. But I enjoy that part of the story, in the sense that what Stephanie was letting us in on was showing us how our ancestors survived, and how as powerful as what they did, how smart as what they were, hiding in plain sight. For a person to have a Bible wasn't a big deal. But it was what was contained in it that was the problem. So, the fact that she didn't use this actually in a notebook or whatever, but she wrote these little notes in the corner pages of the Bible, I think that's telling of the times that were going on at that time. Meaning that, if you did certain things, whatever, all of it was to, unfortunately, make white people comfortable. And so we had to do certain things, whether we're talking about laughing in public spaces or whatever, to make them feel comfortable. And so ultimately, it was to their detriment that we had to do these things, but it's how we survived.
What's that old phrase? Slavery is their history. How we overcame slavery is our history.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of the messages that you sort of conveyed. And mind you, now this is just the first couple pages. You imparted so much that drew me in on these first couple pages. She's talking about that knowledge was passed down, in this method, writing in the margins of the Bible. Every generation would write a little bit more and contribute, mother to daughter, one generation after the next. Every woman in our family added her own wisdom to these pages. And then you add the sort of fantastical element. Some of this I can't decipher. I don't understand this.
Some of it you can, some of it I actually wrote real stuff down. Others I was like, Leticia, girl, just scribble, it's fine.
Yeah, but the fact that she ultimately sees things that look like scientific formulas.
Yeah. Yes.
And you can't tell, is it a formula? Is it a constellation? Is it a map?
Yeah.
Is it all of the above?
Yeah.
Like, God,
slave quilts inspired that. So it's so funny, this book, and just the way that it was written and the way that I approached it. I have to give all credit to Miss Beverly Jenkins. And if you're not familiar with her, she is a Black romance novelist, known greatly for her historical romance novels. Those things are beautiful works because she just does this phenomenal job of weaving history into the story in a way that doesn't take away from the story. If anything, it just immerses you more in it. And it's a celebration in just our culture and, to what Rich said, just our genius and our ability to survive. And that is what I wanted to focus on. I wanted this book to be it's a horror book, yes, but like a celebration in our ingenuity. And of course we're talking about the cost of curiosity and knowledge, but at the same time I wanted to weave parts of our history in this to really highlight just I don't know, just how wonderful we are. Even though the story is set in, the early 1900s, the turn of the century or whatever, that doesn't mean that people weren't still living and thriving in the ways that they could. Just because it doesn't look like that to us now from a 2026 doesn't mean that wasn't the case then. So I don't know. Again, like Roots is a story that I thought I would never tell because it takes place around a time period that I thought I didn't want to tell stories in. And quite foolishly, that was because I was putting limitations on myself based on stories that I had read in this time period in the past. I was coming from a white lens. So, of course, there was going to be a white savior there. Of course, it was going to show us needing to be saved and helped and all of these things. And if there was a moment for us to be a hero, we're a hero because some white person imparted, either freedom upon us or a tool or something like that. I wanted to remove all of that from this because it was not necessary. When I expanded my reading, I found authors who do that very thing. And it doesn't take away from the story. It just focuses on us.
You absolutely did that. I think other than the one mother coming into the shop with her
It's
son.
2 white people that show up in this book.
Right. Like there's literally only 2 white people the entire series that have any dialogue in the book, in the entire series. The rest of it completely focuses on, and you don't miss it. Like,
no, and that wasn't even intentional. It's just I looked up and I was done. I was like, oh well. Because it was not important.
But it's not important. It's not necessary.
No.
And I think oftentimes, particularly when we're dealing with our stories about us, we tend to oftentimes fall into the trap of the Black trauma trope. Like we know what happened to us. We've seen it. We're all familiar with it. But what happened, as I said before, slavery is not our story. It's how we overcome it. That's where the real story is. And that's what this story focuses on, and is you don't have to talk about, well, there's Jim Crow going on. There's the Klan that's out there. You have to be careful on how you travel. You do it from the other perspective. You do it from the perspective of, wow, I'm taking a train down south and I'm have all these luxurious accommodations. We bought this land in secret and we used some white folk to help us, acquire this land. We gathered our
very real
money
things
together.
that were going on. Mm-hmm.
Like you talk about, instead of viewing it from the lens of here's what they did to us and putting the focus on that, you're like, here's what we did. We don't need to remind us of what's going on. We already know that story. What's more interesting and more fascinating is, what did we do to get around that story? I find that to be far more interesting, more fascinating. And you did an entire story completely about us and for us as a result of doing it from that lens. And I thought that was brilliant.
Thank you.
It moves the story along that much better as well. It makes it, when you're doing the fantastical, you're doing the speculative, it allows you the freedom of focusing on that without being distracted, because that's what that other stuff would have been. It would have been distracting to moving the story forward. So I thought that was well done. Very well done.
Because they're smart enough to fill in the blanks. right?
We're more than smart enough to fill in the blanks.
Right. We're traumatized enough to fill in the blanks.
We're traumatized enough to fill the blanks. We don't need you to do it.
I don't need to remind you, or the reminders that I do have are subtle enough where they just, like you said, they don't take away from the story.
Exactly. There's power in knowing things, Etta, but there's wisdom in knowing when you're ready to learn them. I'm ready to learn everything, Mama, everything. Just so many one-liners that just have these deeper meanings. Intent alone isn't enough. The mother wanted to heal her child, just you intended to help, but our good intentions can sometimes cloud our awareness of dangers we're not ready to face. Foreshadowing in the very first issue by like the third page.
I want to bring back reading. Understanding
Richard's clapping his hands because he talks about that every week. He's big on readership. Go ahead, Richard.
Listen. I am a comic book nerd for real. From the books I used to read back in the 80s and late 70s or whatever, you had to sit with these books.
Yeah.
You had to really sit with them to really understand.
And pull out a dictionary sometimes.
And the writers back then, they didn't dumb down anything or whatever. You had to kind of be full. You had to, like I said, go get a dictionary. But one of the things I loved about this story is that it's a human story at the core of it, in the sense that here's a young girl who's telling her mother that she's ready to know all of these things, and it's no different than, and all of us have gone through that. Mm-hmm. As a boy, wanting to shave, and my dad had a real razor, with real razor blades, and wanting to use that thing and did not know how to use it properly, whatever, and cut myself. Those things, boy, what you doing? You don't know what you're doing. That's something as simple you can get from that, because when it comes to light, as children, all children, they're sponges. They just suck up everything that we give them. And so she's no different. Etta's no different. And I'm looking at her and she's just, wide-eyed, and this world that her mother has introduced her to, and she just wants to know everything, and she thinks she's ready and that kind of thing. And I think that the child in all of us can sympathize with Etta. We all had that desire, I remember that song back in the day. What is it? Mama used to say, "Don't rush to get old," but we want to do that. When we get to that age, we fully understand why Mama said that. And so when I look at this, or whatever, with this young girl, I'm really not only intrigued, but I can't do nothing but really snicker or grin, because she doesn't really know what she's saying. In time she will, but I just like the fact that she's inquisitive. She got a book open. Yes, let's make reading great again. please.
Again, this is another one of those scenes where you don't have to go into the, it's times are tough. It's hard to even get educated. It's hard to get books and what have you. Just a simple act of, hey, look at what they're throwing out at the university library. So I brought it home to you. Real science book. Sure. Go ahead. You got an inquisitive mind. Go ahead and educate yourself. I mean, that simple things. You moved along what could have been a very long, drawn out, several other scenes, and just one line, and just move the story. That's storytelling. That's storytelling. That's knowing how to move a story along without having to go into extensive dialogue and panels and stuff like that. Economy of space. It was well done.
Thank you.
And she's drawing these connections between what she's seeing in her mother's Bible and what she in her notebook and what she's seeing in these science books. She's making those connections. So we go to 15 years in the future. She's now owns her own store, her own. She is now the root woman for the neighborhood, basically.
Yeah, like her little apothecary situation.
Yeah, her own little apothecary, her local clinic. Everyone comes to her to solve what ails them. And this one woman comes in. I was there the night your mama died. Heard her last words. She wasn't just fighting a sickness. She was fighting something else, something that had been waiting years to claim her. And that's where you start to first get this inkling that there's something at the root, quote unquote, of the story that we haven't got to yet. That's where we're starting to lean into the fantastical. And here are the only white people with dialogue in the story. The fact that you know, we're dealing with a time period where obviously there's a segregated society. For her to even walk into this black woman's store to seek help is very taboo, if not probably illegal, right?
Yeah.
And
but
then,
I wanted to speak to the power of Etta and her creations so much so that this white woman in a very segregated Chicago, even then, would risk, coming this way to come get some help.
she even throws this line in, apply this twice daily for 3 days. Don't worry, the bottle's plain glass with no label. No one will know it came from here. This is what I was talking about when I said, you didn't have to go into a whole exposition about what time we're in, what people are experiencing. That one line sums it up very, very cleanly. The fact that this white woman's so desperate, she's even willing to go to the black lady, the black side of town, to seek help for her son.
Yeah, the lights was tearing his head up. She had to do.
All right, so then she runs across this woman, Sarah, who offers her, what is it, the stick or the carrot? She offers her the carrot. Yeah. I recognize that you're doing some things. I know things about you. And if you want to learn more, come visit me. Come with me, and we'll go down south to a group of people that are willing to offer you a fellowship, the Meridian Fellowship, where your proclivity for science and aptitude for science will be nurtured and supported. And we can dive deeper into those secrets in that book that your mother has. I mean, all this is just like the first couple issues. It's incredible. You're just sucking people in as you're going further down the rabbit hole, and the world just keeps expanding a little bit at a time in the storytelling. If I got to be honest with you, it is absolutely, as they say, the honor is in the nomination, but I will thoroughly be disappointed if you do not win for this book alone. This series is absolutely fantastic. This is masterclass in writing.
Paul, so this is the first time I'm going to, I guess, I'm not even lean into ego, but I and my husband and son can both tell you that this happened. But when I got done writing the pitch for Roots of Madness and I sent it to my editor, I remember coming into the office and telling my husband, yeah, I think I think I have this story. I think this is going to be the defining thing for me in my career at this moment. I think it is really going to, Temporal is going to show folks one thing, but Roots is really going to take it there and hopefully make people stand up and take notice in a way that they never have before or even thought that I was capable of. And mind you, this was all before Sinners. I think for all of this is before Sinners came out. I think before we even saw a trailer or any of that. So it was just so funny to me, and also just, goes to show that timing is everything, and to follow, your storytelling gut and what's on your heart to tell. Because I remember sitting in Sinners and thinking, I think I was issue 5 into Roots. So I was almost done with the series. And I remember after getting done with leaving that movie theater, I said, wow. So those who wanted more Annie are going to get it from this story. Those who want more Black stories that, again, are really more so celebrations in what we've been able to do to survive and in some cases thrive, and to just kind of tell our history, but from, again, like this fantastical lens. It's going to do numbers. And I think my editor, and a couple other folks at Magnificent Press, after they saw Sinners, like, that was their sentiments exactly. Like, you're a genius for even having this in the pocket before Sinners came out, and now we already have something in the chamber that we don't have to rush to get together because it's this. Like, they were already talking about optioning this from the pitch alone, so I knew that that was serious.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if I read in the newspaper, Roots of Madness now optioned for, streaming service deal, motion picture, or however it is. It would not surprise me. I honestly would not be surprised. And I'm not saying that because you're here. This is a fantastic series.
Well, hold on real quick. Okay. Because we're a comic book podcast, right? So I'm telling you now, this book is not on the shelf in the stores like that. This book sold. Okay? And what I'm getting at is that if it does get out here, issue 1 is going to be a killer to find. And I'm just saying, y'all, if you don't have these books, you might want to go because this is, like Paul said, I enjoy Temporal, but Roots of Madness has got a lot of meat to it and legs to grow. So I think it's just important for us to know, and that timing about when Sinners came out, then when this came out, is crazy. And what's ironic to me is the Smoking Stacks were out of Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Chicago, so that was going to be a given. That just kind of worked. But the other reason why I decided to start the story in Chicago, because my grandparents are from Alabama. They're part of the Great Migration. If you're from the Midwest, especially Chicagoland area, Detroit, even Milwaukee, that you still got a Southern experience there because of your grandparents, and then also maybe visiting relatives during the summertime back south. That's why a Chicago accent is very specific because of that. So I just kind of wanted to reverse that and show going from, Chicago back to the South. Again, had no idea they were going to do that in Sinners. So I was like, that was very crazy that in that Smoke and Snack come back to, where they're from and in this, because I don't think, we should tell more stories in the South. I've been living here now for 14 years, so it's very important to show what I've learned now that I've been immersed in, surrounded by Southern culture in a way that I was not when I was living in Chicago.
Okay, I got a question. Real quick, I don't want to hold you up, but not an Easter egg. Well, I guess you could say it's like an Easter egg, a little mini Easter egg. Okay, so we know that both these series take place in Chicago, right? In issue 2, they're going down. So I guess it's the Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay, so your protagonist is named Savannah. Temporal.
Yeah, that's a little Easter egg. So if you, I'm trying to do. I think this is probably going to end up happening because I'm working on my second series right now with the Niche Press. I almost done with that series, actually. There's an Easter egg in that if you've been following my creator own, you'll get that nugget. But I think that's just going to be a broader thing that I end up doing.
Okay, cool. I'm that's that nerd stuff.
That's that Black Comic Lord stuff, baby.
Yes. Thank you, Rich, for picking up on that.
Look, as you're watching this, fans, please hit the like button and share this video look, everyone needs to know about what Stephanie's doing out here. Like the video, and please share it over your social media, whatever platform you're currently watching. Please go ahead and do that. All right, so she decided she's going to accompany Sarah down south to Savannah, Georgia. But unlike what we typically see where they're kind of stuffed together in some coach somewhere, She's in this luxurious coach. And she's like, how can us as colored folk be in this luxurious, how can you afford that? Well, this foundation, this society has certain arrangements, with the railroad companies. Let's just say that certain doors open for us. The fellowship saved over 30 businesses. I mean, I'm getting sucked in because at this point, I don't know where the story's going. But I know that we now have this secret society of magical Negroes type thing, right? That has all of these advantages and power, I should say. They have all this power, and no one knows about them, certainly. And then Savannah notes that, hey, that there's a brother out there who has a ticket. He's getting thrown off the train. That's not right. And she's like, many things aren't right, Ms. Knight. That's why we exist, to reshape what's possible for our people. So now I'm really sucked in. Because now I'm intrigued. Who are these people? And where is she going? She's going to the Meridian Fellowship, Savannah, Georgia. This looks like an old plantation, because it is an old plantation.
Mm-hmm.
That has many meanings on many different levels for people.
Actually, that's cover issue number 2, Paul, the variant cover.
Oh, I don't have that cover.
It's because you're not a Roots of Madness fan, sir.
I do have signed number 1s that I got.
I got you, Paul. I got some cover.
Hey.
I think I only got 2 of those left, so I'll put that to the side for you for Heroes Con.
I appreciate you. I'll see you at Heroes Con in a few weeks.
I'm a transactional fan. Steph don't have to send me nothing. I'm still gonna buy.
I got you too, Rich. I'll share some news with y'all when we wrap up here.
All right, cool. All right, so people can have different feelings about plantations in the South.
Yes.
Oprah found the plantation her people were from, bought it, and decided, I'm going to burn the whole thing down or tear it down or something. You can interpret it a whole bunch of different ways, but as she walks in, when you think about when I read about histories of like how various HBCUs get started, and it always starts with a group of talented Black folk getting together, pooling their resources together, buying some land, bringing their talents together to formulate something important for us. This story is no different. I mean, it's kind of like if you brought the talented 10th, pooled their resources together, bought some land, and said, here's an endeavor we're going to focus on. Instead of forming a college, we're going to form a research and development organization. That's in essence what you've reimagined here. Is that kind of what you were thinking? Okay.
Well, that... Oh, wait, what were you going to say, Rich?
No, I didn't mean to interject, but there was a page that you showed before, Paul, where it was sitting in the coach. They were sitting in the carriage. I'm sorry, not carriage. On the train. They were talking on the train, and the lady just kind of matter of factly says that, "Oh, we have money."
Yeah.
When you have money, you can do whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, everything that Black people built. We talk about Black Wall Street or any kind of Black towns or whatever that was built. It wasn't built by it was built by the sweat of their hands, but somebody had to have some money.
Right. She goes, that takes a lot of power. She goes, no, dear, money. And that's the distinction. I mean,
and so when you have money, you're able to create communities, organizations, things of that nature that promote whatever it is you want to promote. Whether you're talking about HBCUs or you're talking about the Divine Nine in terms of sororities and fraternities, all of these things started because some Black folk got some money. Now we got this money, we got to be able to pool it and work together, whatever.
And that's where the sequels for this book shall come, because that's the aspect that I don't think we really got to fully explore in this run was where did all this money come from? How did the society get formed? How far back does this society go?
Well, yeah,
Those questions I really have.
Yeah. But I'm glad those are questions that you have, because those are all things that I wanted. These are threads that I wanted to leave open to further expand in this world, because doing research for this, spent a lot of time researching the Reconstruction era, because that is a time that really in school you learn about, they kind of gloss right over it, but that is where a lot of Black wealth came out of. I was just reading about just different things that were put into place after, the Civil War, and different plantation owners that either abandoned their plantations after or were killed. So then the plantation itself was left essentially abandoned, and the government swooping in and picking those up and essentially selling them off to folks, or sometimes parcels of land being left to different, those that were enslaved. So these different ways that we got resources, even though it didn't come from the 40 acres and the mule that we never got. But that's just a very interesting time period for so many reasons. I mean, Jim Crow ends up coming out of that full force because of what we were doing with what we were getting given, right? So for the Meridian Fellowship, I was thinking about the Prince Hall Freemasons, and like, what if, right, they existed in this way, where, knowledge for them is very important, but with this, it's like taking that and going beyond. Where we want it all, and we have access to things that we shouldn't have access to, but we do. Now we're bringing you into the fold because we would like you to play around with that.
That's what's up already.
Message.
We talk about, the things that we can accomplish when we all work together, set aside our petty foolishness for a common goal, and we pool our resources for our own collective efforts. It's truly incredible, because every time that we've done it, we've done stuff like this. And I love the fact that your story I love that you said you did research and you pulled from things that we've actually done.
Yes.
This isn't
that was very important.
This wasn't make-believe. And that's what makes this story so much more compelling for me. All of this has a basis in fact and what has happened historically.
Yes.
I could say some other things, but I don't want to take up time on that.
You're not here for all that tonight.
Our members come from all walks of life, but share a common quest for knowledge that has been denied or hidden from our people. That's an entire pitch. Are you kidding me? That is an entire pitch for an entire new series.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. All right, let me move on. Many of our answers developed coded languages out of necessity. What the uninitiated see is nothing as often a pattern that holds deeper meaning. Kind of like this book.
Uh-huh.
All right. So look, the more that she's getting herself involved, she meets this gentleman, Solomon Pierce, who is a member of this organization and is kind of her liaison and escort throughout, her studies and work that she's doing. Found this memento that goes back from her family, this pendant, that's literally kind of glowing, which we find out is well, that would be telling. I don't want to say, but let's just say it's come down to generations, and it has this, and it will ultimately have a significant meaning towards the work that she does.
Now, the symbol that is on that pendant is a very real symbol. It's the monkey wrench from the slave quilts. It is one of the patterns from that. The monkey wrench was often used as a sign to it meant to get prepared for whatever the travel was, be it physically or mentally, but to get ready, because we about to get up out of here, but there are going to be other things, so as I understand from the book that I read, I should have put it out so that I could show it on camera, but it was actually a real academic book that I read. And they have like these quilts and stuff on display at the National African American National History Museum. But I found them fascinating because it was just a testament of us showing our genius in plain sight. These quilts will be put out. There will be different patterns on them. So for instance, the monkey wrench, maybe that goes out first and is letting them know, like, y'all better get ready because we're getting ready to plan an escape. And then there will be other quilts that we put out a week at a time to not draw attention. I'm pretty sure plantation owners just thought that, oh, this is Negroes just, they just made another quilt, put it on out there, when it was really more than that. Is getting those ready for the journey ahead. Just different patterns. I think a couple others might show up in this book, but there is the drunkard's path and how that looks. And that's letting you know that you cannot take the straight road to get there because of different things and obstacles that are going to be in the way. So you kind of do weave back and forth to make sure that the dogs are not on y'all's scent. And all of these things. There's the log cabin that stands for home. It also stands for, I guess, different points in the journey on the Underground Railroad that stood for like the crossword roads. So like Detroit was one. I forgot the name of what Detroit was known was. Cleveland's another. Columbus, Ohio. But these stopping points before those who escaped went on to Canada. All of this stuff, I found that deeply fascinating and just so cool and magical in itself. So it just made sense to put that type of thing in the story.
Thank you for sharing that. I honestly didn't know that.
It was interesting to me.
I knew about the quilts, but not this particular pattern. That's kind of cool. That's the thing,
Paul. It's not just quilts. And somebody has, and even though people have written about it, I'm just wondering, surprised why nobody has ever actually tried to tell that story. There are certain places where people, the braiding of the hair,
the cornrows, yeah,
the hair in certain styles to mimic maps, all kinds of different stuff, bro. Our people were clever. Our people were lit. We are, and I think people don't realize that it is through those things that why we are still here.
It's why we're talking right now.
Yeah.
It is why we are talking right now. I just think that there is something so powerful, and we often need the reminder that, yes, these atrocities, they happen. We are still dealing with the trauma. Trauma is passed down via DNA. So is this genius. So is this will to figure it out. That is also ingrained in our DNA to go along with the trauma. So two things can be true at once. And again, the trauma is there. That's stuff that your mind, you can fill in the blanks for that. Like the story, I didn't need to focus on that. Instead, let me focus on either what came out of that or how it was survived. And I really would like to hope that the story is a celebration in, all the ingenuity it took to survive, and just our quest to want better for ourselves individually, for our collective. And even though that better differs from person to person, it can be a little detrimental to themselves and the broader good. The point is that it is also ingrained in our DNA to strive for beyond what is in front of us.
Facts. All right. Knowledge holds a special power here. Miss Knight is highly coveted, and there are some in the fellowship who would use it for their own ends. Please keep that in mind. Solomon throughout this entire thing is like, look, not everything around here is what it seems like.
He's the wild.
He always knew something. Yeah, he's always holding back, like, be careful. Throughout the entire process. It's like, Solomon, why don't you just tell me the whole story? I was so mad at Solomon. Like, tell her the whole story. Stop just like alluding to stuff. What the hell is going on, Solomon?
Oh, Solomon's the guy who he's the hero in the story that said, "Come with me if you want to live."
No, but Rich, seriously, yes. that is his function.
Solomon was just getting on my last nerve. Like, dude, just tell her the story, man. Tell me what's going on. I don't know what's all right. Excuse me 1 second. All right. My mother used to tell me stories about this place, like this flower that may or may not exist. Said it could heal, but at a price. Now, this seems like almost a throwaway line, but this is really, really the core of the story.
Mm-hmm.
What is this flower? And I'm not going to get too deep into it, but what is this flower? What does it come from? And what can it do? She and Solomon go out in the night and ultimately come across it. They're able to find this moonlit flower. But in the corner here, right next to Solomon, are the words, "The price is too high, child. The price is too high." What do we mean by this? What is the price? What is the price too high in trying to get and seek knowledge about this flower? Without being spoilery, Stephanie.
Because everything costs you something. Like there is some type of exchange. And very early on in issue 1, Etta's curiosity cost her. She felt pain from that, right? Like she still has that scar. That was the cost of that. And for this particular flower, because it is rooted where it is, and we also find its connection to her and also just the fellowship and a few other characters finding out that truth, that family business, that thing that you were too young to know the truth about. It all comes back to that, and what the cost of understanding that and knowing that, and you even being here, your fate. The story really is also just Etta and just in general, you not being able to escape your fate. Like things are going to end the way that they are. It might look a little different. You might have a choice in how it ends, but it's gonna end at the very. It's going to end. Like there is going to be a conclusion to your story.
Yeah. What is the price of gaining this knowledge? We know that there's more to this area than what meets the eye.
Because where the flower blooms is where a lot of pain and suffering happened.
This is where we started out as a historical piece.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get into a mystery story.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have transversed into a straight up ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to touch upon this, but I can tell you, we even get into a science fiction story. All in one series. I kid you not. Because when she goes deeper down the well and actually analyzes with her science what these flowers are, she finds out something that ties to her past. In ways that were completely unexpected.
Yeah.
If you want more, read the book.
Go get the book.
Go get the book.
Buy the comics, read the comics.
Buy the comics.
The trade for not temporal, but for Roots of Madness, September 22nd. It's the same day as the trade for Street Sharks comes out, which is just so funny to me because those are two completely different books. But I feel like if you read them, you'll still very much know that they were something that was written by me.
Now, Stephanie, let me ask you real quick, because I don't know if Paul's going to cover anything with Street Sharks. Where did that come from? Because that's like
Street Sharks.
Yes, I mean that's
something.
Yeah, I didn't include Street Sharks because at the time that
I didn't know.
I didn't know that you were nominated for that.
I didn't know either. Street Sharks came because I learned very quickly in this industry that a lot of jobs are handed out by editors, and sometimes not sometimes. It's very good if an editor kind of knows you as a person, right? Like what your likes are, what you're interested in. So I had did some stuff for IDW, My Little Pony. Now, am I a big My Little Pony fan? Absolutely not. No, I'm not. In fact, like I could take or leave the ponies. But I knew that I was going to bring like my best self to the project anyway, but hope that by working on My Little Pony and just that licensor, that it would make me, it would prove that I could do other licensor stuff. Now that I know that Street Sharks was going to be that next licensor thing at IDW, no, I had no idea. But I knew they had Star Trek and they also had other cool licensed projects that, if given the opportunity, like I would like to write on. So I was very vocal just about just some stuff, goofy things that I enjoyed. 90s cartoons, definitely one of them. And editor Heather Antos remembered that. And when Mattel came to them for, Street Sharks and stuff like that, they hit me up and said, hey, would you be interested in pitching for this? And I said, would I? I still got the toys in my parents' garage. And it's just so funny because the year that this happened, coming out of that summer, because I got this, I think that was like around the fall when I got the email, I was feeling some kind of way. Like I was in my feelings about just not getting a chance on Storm. It worked out because Moreira has done a phenomenal job on that series. And by me not even, getting passed over for Storm, that made me feel some kind of way. I was like, well, shit, let me double down, make them feel some kind of way about not going with me. So with Street Sharks, I was like, well, here's my opportunity. That's a book that, folks would not think of, a Black woman like me writing, because that's usually a project that, let's keep it real. Like the white guys get that. Like they get to do the fun little 90s, whatever. So to have an opportunity to do that and then have it come out, like to have Street Sharks, Roots of Madness, and Temporal come out back to back to back.
That's great.
Was insane. But I knew that just hopefully people would take notice and like, oh, like she can write. Like, yes, this is what I've been trying to show, that I can do that. But I don't know. Sometimes people just don't pay attention for a whole bunch of reasons. But with Street Sharks, I knew that was going to open me up to a different fan base. They probably pick up Temporal, probably pick up Roots, probably pick up the other stuff. But I was so happy to be able to do Street Sharks.
Let's do a recap. Street Sharks, Roots of Madness. We've got Temporal. We got Threads of Destiny, doing Star Trek, completely out of left field.
Yeah.
The Dakota incident.
Yeah.
Let's not forget she did she did the end game big ball brawler battle with Captain Atom in Dakota incident. So she can write action. She even did some Wonder Woman. Just for fun.
Doing some more Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Doing some more Wonder Woman. I've already got it on pre-order. So issue 35 or something like that.
35, 36, and something else to be announced in September that's also Wonder Woman related. It's a special.
That's a lot of DC work.
It's so much DC work on the way.
The DC work that always pops up. I would be remiss if I didn't ask. Vixen. Vixen. There is a movement out there to get you to be the writer on Vixen, who should honestly be the preeminent superheroine, black superheroine for DC Comics. Her resume is such. To be very specific, there is no reason Vixen should not be an A-list character at DC Comics. When we talk about the criteria for an A-list character, you have to have comics, cartoons, live action appearances, merch, there's action figures. She's got all the criteria of being an A-list character, all of them. She checks every box, but she's not because they don't put her in an ongoing series. DC has never had a black superheroine ongoing series, the self-titled character. Any possibility that this might happen for you?
I'll put it like this. If it wasn't already happening, the Eisner nomination is definitely fast track, whatever that might be. But I feel like Vixen, me, and that book is probably one of the worst kept secrets in comics right now. So all I can say is pay attention, continue to pay attention to solicits.
This is a Black Comic Lords exclusive.
Y'all are about to get me busted, but
let me just say this though.
I'm wilding out.
I know is a story that you definitely want to do, right? But I wouldn't be mad at a Karen Beecher story.
Oh, she gotta pop up. Come on now.
Rich. Hey, listen.
Don't steal her pitch, man. Come on.
Don't
This is
worry.
Stephanie Williams. She hasn't thought of that.
Don't worry.
I mean, but let me ask you, Stephanie. This is a fair question. Now,
she might bring Jet back too.
Boy,
if I could, I would.
I'll lose it if you brought Jet back. I mean, who else would you want to write at DC other than say the obvious?
So Amanda Waller, Black Label book that is still in my back pocket. I would love that.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah.
Man.
Bro, Amanda Waller, Black Label book. Oh Lord.
Me and Rich get into it all the time because I consider Amanda Waller an anti-hero. He's like, she's a straight up villain. I'm like, villain is
this is why I want to do a Black Label thing. But I would
it's so pejorative to refer to her as a villain. Like, she's not really, is she though?
Amanda be doing stuff. But outside of that, in a more even less serious, I would still like to do Justice League of Antarctica. That was a team that was led by Nord. Just a quick little 6-issue, 5-issue thing. Instead of Antarctica, they can be in Bermuda. Love just the idea of these villains coming together because they were unemployed and accidentally made themselves heroes. Like, that's funny, and I would love to do that. I would love to woman, of course, Boosted Gold. I would love to write Animal Man, Swamp Thing, not Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, Cyborg. I'd absolutely love to write.
I would love to see you do a slice of life type of story with like some, as you mentioned, like the Antarctic JLA, like some C-list characters.
Yes.
And do like look, this is just a paycheck for me, man. I'm not trying to get out and die saving this kid off of a tree or whatever. Like, I need some. I've talked to you about this before. That
yes, I would love to do that.
The Living Heroes type of vibe, I would so love to see that in an ongoing series from you because you're so brilliant at writing that stuff.
It's easy. She living it. She living it.
Oh, I need certain decisions.
Rich, to be honest, there isn't. So one of the things that I do really enjoy about just Big Two work or just talk specifically DC is that for these comic characters that have long-standing history and they've been around for a while, or maybe they haven't had much story, and just kind of bring them to relevancy. Like, I like to problem solve in that way. Like, that's very fun to me, to figure out how to, one, bring something fresh to this character and not like mischaracterize them. So make it, find the, as Melissa Flores says, to find the white spaces where you can, fill it in a little bit, but it doesn't detract from who this character is or any of that. It's just fun to kind of figure that out. It's a challenge. I mean, for those 2 Wonder Woman issues I did, those are 2 fill-in issues that are not just throwaway fill-in issues, but they're fill-in issues that have to fit the broader framework of the overall Wonder Woman series. Like, that's not easy trying to figure that out, but I enjoy, trying to figure that out and get the best story out of it. So whatever the character, I don't know, like, I would just enjoy the challenge of figuring it out, and, whatever that story looks like, and just making it happen. Like that's the part of the big 2 stuff that I think I've grown to really love, because you come to a piece when you remind yourself that these are not your characters. I'm not gonna fight you or argue with you about what to do with your characters. As long as I don't have to do anything that compromises who I am and I can sleep at night, it's fine. But it's your character at the end of the day. So, if I can do this, great. If I can't, then I'll save it for something else that's mine. But
or if you can do it,
argue.
great. If you can't, I'll just write another book as dope as Roots of Madness.
Yes, argue about your. I mean, I haven't cussed all night, but I'm about to argue with you about your shit. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna raise my blood pressure for that. You either want it or you don't. It's really that simple.
Yeah, I'm hoping these current events will give you the clout that you don't have to like ask twice.
Well, the funny thing about it is that for a couple companies, I haven't had to ask twice. Is this year, the way that it has started off, even before the awards, I've seen now that just maybe because I've established myself, because I've been more vocal about what I want and what I would like to do, and haven't backed down on that, there's stuff that I pitched that, I never thought I'd be able to pitch for. And like, it's gotten the green light. There's an announcement coming in June that I'm very excited for, because it's another horror thing. And that pitch is something like, when I was at New York City Comic Con, when the stuff was announced, I like to the editor, I was like, hey, do you want a story for this? Because I got one. And sure enough, a week or 2 later, after getting back from New York Comic Con, was like, okay, so were you serious about that? I was like, yeah, I was. And then now it's happening. So closed mouths don't get fed. And I've just been leaning into that and letting folks know what it is that I would like to do, because other people ain't shutting up about what they want to do. I've learned that a lot of these books and stuff that we see get made is because somebody was having a conversation at the bar or wherever, and here we go. Or they have not shut up about the thing.
Networking.
One of the worst things that I could do as a Black woman in this space is play small. That doesn't serve me. Yeah.
Go hard or go home, man. We have a couple questions in the chat for you if you have a sec. Damon Watson says, I've been collecting your Wonder Woman, Roots of Madness, Temporal, and other works, but I need to know if you'll be signing with CGC, since I can't usually make it out to convention.
That is a good question. I feel like I can talk to the company that I table with when I'm at conventions, CSA. They usually work alongside CGC. So I will get in touch with them and ask, but I'm pretty sure that can happen. Also, there's a couple folks from CGC that I always see at conventions and talk to. So yeah.
Or will you ever be coming to Atlanta, and can I invite you to my local LCS?
I will be in Atlanta again, because I was at Furry Convention. We didn't talk about that. We don't have to, but I was at Furry Con. I was at Furry Weekend Atlanta. That was an experience. But I'll be back in October for Greg Burnham's convention that he's putting together. I think it's that last week of October. Yes.
Base,
I will be there for Base. And
Black.
yeah, I will come out to a local comic book shop. Just have your people send me an email and I will make it happen. Atlanta's like a 4-hour drive, so
When will it's Roots? When will Roots of Madness be collected? I need a reading copy of these singles I collected.
September 22nd.
There you go. Are either or both of these series optioned? Are you even allowed to say?
Currently no, but I don't be surprised if you see something in the year or two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, shout out to AJ Ampadu. We just interviewed him a couple weeks ago. Question for
Yeah,
Stephanie.
AJ's
Congrats
cool, too.
again. What is your favorite genre to write? Peace to you
Right
too.
now, my favorite genre to write is horror. And that is just because I went on like this Junji Ito kick and I don't know, something about just the horror genre and being able to push things in a way that maybe you're uncomfortable with, and being able to kind of do that and have folks sit with it. That's really appealing to me. But right now, horror. Second to that will be romance, and you guys are finally going to get full-on romance from me with this next Ignition Press book.
Wow. That should complete the entire genre list.
Not yet. I haven't done a Western.
You
Question.
haven't done a Western. Okay.
Question
No.
about the horror. Did you do a story for the Vixen book for Shook?
No, I did not. I have not done anything for Shook yet, but I have spoken to Marcus Roberts, though.
Okay, I was going to say, boy, they sleeping at the wheel. They didn't call you like that.
Yeah, no, I've been talking to Marcus, so hopefully, because I know Shook Volume 3 would be the next thing. Yeah. So hopefully I'll be in that.
Oh, if you have any problems, just let us know. Marcus we'll talk to Marcus. All right. What is it? Wait, what I'm saying. Introduce my 10-year-old daughter into comics with Roots of Madness. Thank you, Stephanie, for keeping Black women voices and faces alive in comics. Oh, that's what's up. Wiseacre, shout out to Wiseacre, Frederick Littles. Salute to Stephanie Williams for an amazing year. Please tell me she's attending DreamCon so I can get my copies of Roots of Madness signed. I think
I
she
will
said
not
she.
be at DreamCon. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
All right. Furry convention. I know you have some stories from that experience.
I sure do.
Starting with
And a new story that might
up?
come out of it.
Did you
No, I
dress
bought
up?
some ears. So let me get into this experience all the way.
Go ahead. All right. Jabari Muhammad, how can I send you my art portfolio? He's volunteering to be your next artist.
If you would like to send that, you could go to my website through context submission, and you should be able to send it that way. But I'm letting you know right now, my inbox looks like a mess.
Yeah,
a Western horror? You could. I could. Hey, you never know. Because Westerns, I mean, all the Gunsmoke I watched at my grandparents' house, you got to believe that's coming soon. Bonanza? Absolutely. Spaghetti Western? It's coming from me.
I did a show a couple of weeks ago talking about a couple of Western books, and me and Paul talked about this. There's a Garth Ennis wrote a book called Trail of Tears, a series.
Oh, that's my book.
And in that book, it has a what appears to be a black ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is during what was that? What period was that? Reconstruction?
It was Reconstruction right after Civil War.
Reconstruction after the Civil War. So, we didn't talk about nothing about Marvel. Would you think about doing a Western for Marvel, maybe? Because I know the Marvel people watch too.
Yes. There's actually a Storm pitch that I have specifically that would be, I guess, maybe an Elseworld story that is a Western.
I would love, as you mentioned that trailer, I would love to see her take that character. So basically, there's this Trail of Tears, Reconstruction period. This Confederate soldier, he's beat down. He's found by this black family. That they have their own farm. They're building their life, and they take this white Confederate soldier in. and nurse him back to health. He basically joins the family over the course of like a year or two. Really becomes a close part of the family, and the father and the soldier become good friends. So he decides to go off and I think go find his family, his own family or something. And then he comes back to find the black family and they're all slaughtered. And he doesn't know what happened to them. And so the story is like him investigating what happened to this family. And long story short, the father who has this, I don't know if it's a grave site or something, that he's like, yeah, this got bones and all types of artifacts. And he says, basically, this is from ancient Africa. We brought it over here and it's got very special properties to it. And long story short, after he's killed, he becomes a spirit of vengeance and becomes this ghost rider on horseback. I'm not doing the story justice, but that's basically the concept. Mm-hmm. That's something that you could definitely run with. But be that as it may, even within the Roots of Madness storyline, a
lot of room to play in that toy box.
Yeah,
there's a lot of room to play with that concept.
Yes,
a Western horror with Roots of Madness taking like 100 years before. Ooh,
listen,
50 years before. I would love to see
I also quickly learned that if you want your worlds to have legs, like you can't tie everything up, and you need to, you can treat your limited series or whatever it is, kind of sprinkling little things in to see what the audience kind of gravitates towards, to then build more of. That's a great way to kind of field test for what the folks will buy. So trust me, there is more that will be coming out of Roots.
What Lord Chocolate has declared my arch nemesis, Sun Tzu of Art of War Comics, has this comment: if you could revive or redefine one overlooked black comic character with zero editorial restrictions, who would it be, and what would you do differently? It's a good question.
It would be Jet, and I would not have her die twice.
You just say that because I said Jet.
No, it's not. I'm serious. I covered Jet in that Strange and Unsung All-Stars encyclopedia that I wrote. That is a character that I've always been fascinated with. Just the Millennium situation period. But yes, Jet, and I would switch that up. Because what a fascinating character.
One suggestion.
A Jamaican character too.
One more DC. If you bring back Orpheus. Bring back Orpheus.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I got you, Rich.
Orpheus, man. That was
I
think that's what
I don't know what
didn't we determine, Rich, that Orpheus was the first black character done by a black creative team that had its own self-titled series? I think that's accurate.
All I know is
I believe that's accurate, Paul.
Yeah.
They were tripping.
Real tripping, man. I get upset every time I think about that character.
Even with Jet, though. I mean, how they got rid of Jet? I mean, didn't they give Jet AIDS?
They did. She died twice.
Oh, don't get me started. That's a whole other show. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a vibe to have you on here. You good peoples, and you're our peoples, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And to answer that question, yes, more IDW properties are on the way. So much so that you'll get an announcement next month.
She's got so much stuff cooking. I just can't wait. I just can't wait.
Talking about. See, when you was with us last time, Stephanie, and Paul was interviewing you with the other creators from
Dakota.
You talked about doing the work, the importance of doing the work. And I remember years ago, Daryl Goza, who's a creator, said that artists, by and large, are a lazy lot. And that oftentimes they have to be pushed into things, whatever. But when you are someone who is not afraid to do the work, you can ascend, and it is shown through your efforts. My favorite comic book writer is Dwayne McDuffie, and the stuff that I read, when I read McDuffie's stuff, I can reread it and reread it and reread it. And I think that that's where you're headed. I
Thank
believe
you.
you're really headed, because I brought up Street Sharks earlier because Dwayne McDuffie has done a lot of obscure stuff. As someone who likes his writing or whatever, and I think that as the people discover you more and more, that My Little Pony will be precious to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because this is Stephanie Williams. I gotta have this for my collection. Those things, those little small nuggets matter because it's what got you here. And I'm thankful for your work ethic. I'm thankful for your vision. I thank God for your family, because
Thank
they
you.
clearly carved out the space for you to be this creator that you are. And oftentimes I think we don't give our support systems enough credit to just
Let me
allow, you know.
Let me do that real quick, because when when my editor called me, first I wasn't gonna answer the call because I owe him two things. I was ducking and dodging. But I was like, well, he never calls, so let me answer. And my husband and son happened to be in the room, and um, I didn't have him on speaker just yet, but then I put him on speaker and he was like, told me the news. And before I could even get a word out, all I heard was both of them saying, Tana, we told you so. Like, congratulations, we told you so. That is in the most loving way. But it was just a lot of, see, we knew you, we were telling you should listen to us, that, this would happen. So like, huge champions. Like, my husband had an event yesterday, a music event, and his entire people, the community of folks that were there, I was not expecting this, but made me get on the stage and talk about what just happened and the work that I do, and took a moment to celebrate me. And I know that's because my husband won't shut up about me around them, and they told me that. And I just do appreciate that, because he is one of the biggest catalysts why I'm even able to be on this journey. Like I said, like, I was working a completely different job, resigned from that, and was about to go get another job. And by that time, I had been writing consistently articles for different websites. And his whole thing was like, okay, so we see what you're able to do, and you're giving 50% of yourself. Let's see what can happen if you do 100%. Like, don't run out and get another 9 to 5. Focus on the writing. I'll handle the other stuff. Like, you're making enough to contribute, that we're not going to be in the poorhouse. And was just very supportive in that way. When I'm away and I'm at conventions and stuff, I don't have to worry. Sometimes I feel guilty because, like, that's the mom in me, but I know that, our son is well taken care of. He supports me going out and, doing this thing. And I know I get to come home to a clean house. And that's all that matters.
Shout out to Stephanie Williams' husband, being a supportive brother.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Stephanie, we hope you come back soon, especially with all these announcements.
Oh, I'll be. I would think that y'all would be beating down my door for me to come back soon, especially with what I'm going to share with you when we get off of here. But many good things are on the way.
All right. Well, we'll see you in 3 weeks at Heroes Con. It's my birthday, by the way, so be nice to me.
Yes,
June
I will.
12th. All right. Shout out to all the fans out there. Thank you for watching us. Please like this video. Hit the like button real quick. If you're watching this on replay, there's a new button called the hype button. Hit the hype button. It allows the algorithm to say, hey, this is something you might want to check out. Check out the Black Comic Lords. Check out what Stephanie Williams got cooking, because she's cooking a lot. This woman's in the kitchen constantly, working up in the lab, coming up with dope stories for you. I'm excited to find out what's coming out next. Just keep following her. Keep pre-ordering her books. Let me say that louder into the mic. Pre-order her books.
And when it come out. So you won't have no excuses. If you watch this channel, if you on our Facebook, we will let you know.
Yeah.
So if you don't, you can't come. One thing about us, you can't come to us and lie to us in our face. We keep the receipts. Pre-order the books.
Yeah, don't tell us. I didn't know she had that book coming out. Stop.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
That's like saying I don't watch Black Comic Lords. Just say you don't watch Black Comic Lords. Don't say we didn't tell you about it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I digress. Stephanie, thank you very much. Black Comic Lords, we got you.
Peace.